The recent addition of Ultra Zones in Antel made Superbone extremely easy to farm because of the addition of Ultra Zones, and since Superbone is such a good super, for a lot of people it is definitely worth grinding for now. However, a lot of people like me don't have the time to active grind like 7 hours a day, like 10 hours a day, just in the Ultra Zone, so they may choose to AFK grind, which means they put the player in a corner somewhere in Anthell. They'll make a squad, make a build that kills mobs automatically without them having to move. Because of the recent updates that made AFK grinding a bit more troublesome than before, I'm here to give you some tips on how you may continue doing that. Worms are a new mob that have been added to Antel. They dig underground and attack you from below. They were added to make AFK grinding Antel harder by going underneath all of your eggs and eating the sticks. Here is a step-by-step guide on how to deal with the worm issue. This part is heavily inspired by Corrupt O's tutorials on how to do other stuff in Floor, and you should go check those videos out. Step 1. All the eggers must use poo. This is so that the worms don't aggro the eggers and eat the sticks. Step 2. Other players that are not egging could lure the worms away from the eggers. If you are in a 3+3 squad, the DPSers will lure the worms away. If there are leechers around, leechers are people who try and steal loot while you are farming. You could ask them nicely to lure the worms away from the eggers and pray that they follow your instructions. If there is no one else outside the egg squad to lure worms, follow step 3. First, the player with the fewest sticks who can stay active should unequip poo. They should equip slowness petals like web, pincer, knockback petals like jelly and heavy, and super DPS petals so that the worms and the other ultras die faster. You should equip enough heals so that you don't die. Because the worm will knock the worm lurer around, the lurer should stay active and make sure that they are always far enough away from the eggers. Step 4. If there's someone AFKing among the eggers without using poo, they are a threat to the squad because they might lure the worms and cause the sticks to be eaten. Try to push them out of the summons and let them die to the ultra mobs. And step 5, this goes to every other player. Don't die! If the lurers die, the worms will switch aggro onto the eggers and then they will die. If the eggers die, well then you're dead. If the leechers who were supposed to be luring the worms die or all leave at once, and the egg squad does not have their own lurer, they're also dead. There was a further update that made it so that your eggs don't collide with your squad mates' eggs. This means your eggs will take up less space. There are some advantages and disadvantages to this. Since the eggs take up less space, the ultra mobs can get closer to you and they will die closer to you, so their loot will more likely be within magnet range. It also makes like trying to get your eggs through like narrow tunnels easier because your eggs aren't colliding with your other squad's eggs, so they just pass through and they're not blocking one another. Because your eggs are on top of one another, mobs will be colliding with all of them at once, so your eggs collectively do damage to the mobs faster. Some say that because the eggs take up less space, there is more space for mobs to spawn, which increases raids. I'm not sure if this is true, but it could be. However, since the ultra mobs are closer to you, there's a greater risk of dying. Each biome is split into parts, and each part spawns mobs at different rarities, and different proportions of rarities. On screen is a list of how many eggs AFK every difficulty generate. Check the difficulty of the things you want by using the Florido viewer. The link will be in the description. When you're connected to a server, the game will check if you are AFK every 25 to 45 minutes. This means, okay, like from the moment you connect to the server, it's 25 to 45 minutes after you connect that an AFK check will appear, and then every subsequent AFK check will be 25 to 45 minutes after the last one. It was 25 to 35 before, it's now 45. I use a custom timer that waits 25 minutes and then constantly reminds me to check if there's an AFK check on my screen. It's very effective and I'll share the link with you in the description. And that's all. I hope you found this video useful and I wish you all the best for your Intel grinding. I stayed up all night to make these two videos. Like it's currently like almost 7 and I haven't slept. I need help.